Hello everyone. On last turn, I was talking about variable thickness, or we can say wedge shaped film. So everybody knows what is a film or a thin film. So here I was discussing about how interference pattern is occurred in a wedge shaped film. So here we see that there is a thin glass plate over which another thin glass plate is kept, okay, and it is folded with a thin sheet. Okay, this whole thing is very very small, but I have to show the air film here, so I am taking this large figure. Okay, so what we see is how the interference occurs between a light ray falling on the wedge shaped film. So why it is called wedge shaped? Because here you see the air film inside the two glass plates is of wedge shaped. Okay, this I have discussed earlier. Now what is the experimental arrangement for wedge shaped film? We'll see. Okay, what is the experimental arrangement? This is a wedge shaped film. Here we'll start the experimental arrangement. Okay, experimental arrangement. So for experimental arrangement we have to put take two glass plates. You can design your own wedge in lab. If you want, you can take two glass plates, put a slit or something for here, support here, thin glass sheet you can put it here, and okay, and the angle here, this angle between the wedge is known as wedge angle. Okay, this is called microscopic slide. Okay, now what happens is we place our source here, sodium lamp. It is always sodium lamp when you use monochromatic light in lab. Okay, sodium lamp, it is known as source. Here in front of source there is a lens. Okay, here we place a convex lens to scatter the light beam in form of parallel rays. Okay, so what happens here, light comes from this source. Okay, it collects all the light and sends them in form of parallel rays. Okay, so here we put a glass plate in the path of light, and this glass plate, what it does, reflects the light. Okay, see, it's happened like this. The angle between the light, incident light, and the glass plate is 45 degrees always. Okay, it should be 45 degrees, otherwise you won't be able to see the pattern, interference pattern. Okay, so light gets reflected from this surface, and it also gets reflected from this surface what happens is, in case of normal incidence, it goes through the light glass plate and returns back to its surface, return back to this glass plate, and then from here it is refracted and enters into the microscope. Here there is a microscope placed in which we can see the light. Okay, so this is the whole experimental arrangement what we can see in the lab. And here in the microscope we get fringes like this. Straight fringes with equal distance between them. Okay, so what actually happens here is, we'll see in the next figure. Okay, let me tell you. This is the glass plate. Okay, now see, if this is the incident light falling on the surface of the plate, we name it A, and here we name it point B. What happens, this light ray gets reflected and at the same time gets refracted through the glass plate. Okay, and at this point also, here the light ray gets refracted and moves in the reflected and moves in the same direction, not refracted. Okay, so this is known as C, named as E. Here whole portion is air between the glass plates. Okay, so what is happening here, see, this point if we name as D, this point we name as F, and this is the angle of the wedge, theta. So what happens at the glass to air boundary and air to glass boundary? See, I have told you earlier that whenever a light ray from a rarer medium incidents on a surface which is a denser medium, then there occurs a phase change of pi radians. Okay, so whatever be the phase of the ray A, B, C, okay, we do not have to consider that, because whatever be the phase change, it will be in, like it will be in the same phase, or we can say that we do not have to consider it here. And in this case, when the light enters from B to F and then it goes in the direction DE, B, F, DE, this light ray. So here we will consider the phase change, because when we are considering the interference pattern, what we see is the interference between the rays BC and FE. Okay, so we have to consider the pi change here, because this pi change is after here, like the ray A, B, C, whatever phase changes here, it is the basic change. Okay, so we will not if we consider it or not consider it, is the same thing. Okay, but these two rays BC and FE are going through superposition and forming the interference pattern. Okay, so this ray is also coming from the same ray A, B and F, and but here at the point F, it is going through a denser medium and then again reflecting back into the rarer medium. So here it experiences a phase change of pi. Okay, so what happens when a light ray experiences a phase change of pi, we will see. I have already told you the path difference, optical path difference, what we will measure, the optical path difference in case of interference is delta is equal to 2 mu t cos r. But in this case the second ray is experiencing a phase change of pi, and a phase change of pi means a path difference of lambda by 2. Okay, everybody knows this, so we have to mention this, that this lambda by 2 is due to the phase change of pi radians. In which light ray? This is due to the light ray which is reflected from the bottom boundary of air to glass. This is due to the light wave reflected from the bottom boundary of air to glass. Okay, this is the reason we have mentioned it here. Now for maxima to occur, okay, what we know, the condition is delta should be equal to m lambda. This is the condition of maxima. Okay, now part difference, the value of part difference we have is 2 mu t cos r minus lambda by 2, and here is equal to m lambda. Now we'll put this lambda by 2 on the other side of equation, so we get is m lambda plus lambda by 2. On solving or taking lambda by 2 common from the equation, we have 2m plus 1. Okay, this is the value we get here for bright fringes. This is the condition for bright fringes. It will always be asked in your practical or viva exam that what happens here and what is the condition of bright fringes. In normal conditions, the condition for bright fringes in the interference pattern is not this, it is m lambda, but here due to the phase change of pi radians, we get the darkness condition as brightness condition and the brightness condition as darkness condition. Okay, so next we'll calculate the same result for minima. What happens for minima? So we know that delta for minima is 2m plus 1 lambda by 2. Okay, so now see what happens in the case of minima. We put the value of delta 2 mu t cos r minus lambda by 2 is equal to twice m plus 1 lambda by 2. Okay, on solving this we get 2 mu t cos r is equal to m lambda. What you have to do is send lambda by 2 on the other side and then open this bracket and solve the following values, and then you will get m lambda. Okay, so what we see here is minima has obtained the condition of maxima and maxima has obtained the condition of minima. So this only you have to remember, and always remember this is due to the phase change of pi. Okay, so now what we have to calculate from all these results is the fringe width. Okay, if the object of your experiment is to calculate the fringe width or tell the difference between two consecutive dark fringes or two consecutive bright fringes, so we'll take here the condition of minima to calculate the fringe width. Okay, so what we see here for calculation of fringe width, the first thing is that if the light ray is assumed to have normal incidence. So in that case, in case of normal incidence, cos r will be equal to 1. Okay, cos r will be equal to 1. And if we consider that the thickness at some point A, see what I am saying here is, let us again assume this figure. This is very important part in calculating the fringe width. Okay, so what we are assuming here, see, at some point where the thickness of the glass plate, here the angle is theta, where the thickness of the glass plate is T1, we see a dark fringe. Okay, we let us suppose that at some point A where the thickness is T1, we see a dark fringe in the interference pattern. Now again after some distance, we again will see the consecutive dark fringe at a thickness T2, say. Okay, that point will be named as C. This point is A, and let us name this K. Now here let us name this L. Again at some point where thickness is T3, we will again experience a dark fringe consecutively. Let this be M, let this be E. Okay, so what we see here, let this be D. Okay, so now this is also dark, this is dark, and this is dark. These are consecutive dark fringes. When we consider the distance between two consecutive fringes, we name it as beta, or we call it fringe width. Okay, so this distance will be beta everywhere. This is also beta, this is also beta, everywhere it will be beta. Okay, let us name this point as O. Now we have to calculate the fringe width. How we'll do that? We know that the condition for angle at normal incidence is cos r will be 1. So now we are reduced by the condition, and at a thickness T1 at point A, if we have to calculate the condition of interference, so what we'll get, 2 mu T1, okay, is equal to m lambda. I think this is very well understood, because cos r value, the value of cos r is 1, and the thickness at this point is T1, so we have put this 2 mu T1 and cos r will be 1, is equal to m lambda. Okay, so this is the first point. Now this is at A, at point A. Okay, now again we see the same thing at point C. So what happens at point C? The condition for interference will be 2 mu, the thickness becomes here T2, and this is the next order of fringe. Okay, M, then M plus 1. Okay, next consecutive fringe, and lambda. So this we get as equation number 2. Now to get the fringe width here, let us subtract equation 1 from equation 2. Subtract equation 1 from 2. Okay, so what we get, 2 mu T2 minus T1 is equal to m plus 1 minus m into lambda. Cancel this out, we get lambda. Okay, so we get 2 mu T2 minus T1 is equal to lambda. Okay, so what we see here, this T2 minus T1 is equal to lambda, or we have T2 minus T1 written as lambda upon 2 mu. Okay, so the next point here is what is T2 minus T1. So from figure here, this figure, T2 minus T1 is like CB, or we can say it BC. Okay, so put this here, BC is equal to lambda upon 2 mu. Again, this is an equation number, what we can write, equation number 3. Okay, now we have to calculate the value of this BC. How we will do that? Now we see in the triangle, again we go to the figure and see in the triangle ABC, we have to calculate the value of BC. Okay, this angle is theta, because this angle is theta here, so this angle will be theta, this angle will also be theta, and so on. All the angles will be theta because all these lines are perpendicular. Okay, so this angle is theta, and this both lines are perpendicular to each other, so this makes a right angle triangle, and we can put the conditions, like we can use all the values of trigonometric values. So here we use for BC we use tan theta. Okay, so now here in triangle ABC, what we have, angle CAB is equal to theta. Okay, now and BC we can write in terms of tan theta as AB tan theta. Tan ratio everyone is knowing. Okay, now so we get what we have, the value for BC is from equation 3 is lambda upon 2 mu. So here AB tan theta becomes lambda upon 2 mu. Now what is the value of AB from the figure? AB is the distance between two consecutive, perpendicular distance between two consecutive dark fringes, so it is beta. So we can replace AB by beta. So beta tan theta is equal to lambda upon 2 mu, or we can write beta is equal to lambda upon 2 mu tan theta. Okay, and for very small values of theta, here we can see the angle between the wedge is very small. It is hardly 1 to 5 degrees. Okay, because we have to consider the air film here, and we have to see what is happening between the air film and air to glass boundary and glass to air boundary. So we have considered a larger figure, but in lab you will see that the angle theta is very small, or we can write for very small values of theta, small values of theta. Okay, what happens? Tan theta becomes equal to theta, so we get the formula as beta is equal to lambda upon 2 mu theta. Okay, this is the formula for fringe width. Now as we see that lambda for a particular value is a constant, mu will also be a constant for a particular material, and theta for a particular wedge will also be a constant. So we can say from this formula that beta will be a constant. So what this implies is we get equidistant fringes. Okay, and if we go on reducing the angle theta, okay, theta being very small, what happens? The interference pattern will vanish, because beta will start increasing, and at some point when theta becomes very small, the pattern diminishes. Okay, so now we see the properties or features of interference pattern. due to so first feature here is first thing is fringe at the apex is dark. So why it is so? It is so because see the thickness here in the wedge, we see that the thickness of the air film at this point where two glass slides meet is 0. Okay, if thickness is 0, and thickness is the main factor for the condition of dark and bright fringes. So if thickness is 0, what we get here in the formula is 2 mu t is equal to minus lambda by 2 is equal to, part difference here is 0 because there is no gap between the two slides. Okay, so part difference automatically will become 0, and here thickness is also 0. So due to thickness 0, sorry, this will be equal to delta. Okay, so here thickness is 0, so we put this whole value will become 0 minus lambda by 2 is equal to delta, or we can say delta is equal to minus of lambda by 2. So this value means minus of lambda by 2 means that we get a dark patch here in the first, as a first fringe, dark fringe. Okay, now next property is fringes are straight and parallel. What is the condition for this? Okay, very important condition. This will become the base for Newton's ring experiment. Next we will study Newton's ring experiment, and this will become the base for that. Okay, so what happens here is basically, see why the fringes are straight and parallel. When we consider this whole thing in 3D, see what happens. This is the wedge shaped air film in 3D. Okay, so applying from here, if we calculate all the conditions, okay, so at some point t of thickness t, if we are getting a dark fringe, okay, dark fringe, so for a wedge we can say that the whole line or the locus of the whole point at that same point or at thickness t will experience dark condition of dark interference. Okay, or condition of destructive interference. So at a thickness t we get the whole locus as a dark line, and then again the next to it we'll see a bright patch, and the whole locus will be bright, and the locus here for thickness t is a locus of line. Okay, and again at thickness t2, this is, if we call this t1, and then again at thickness t2 the whole locus will form of a line. So what we get is consecutive dark and bright lines, straight and parallel to each other. Why parallel? Because the distance between them at all the points is equal. Okay, so this is the cause why we get straight and parallel fringes in the case of wedge shaped film. Now third point is none other than that fringes are equidistant. Why these fringes are equidistant is given from the formula itself. I told you earlier that beta is equal to lambda and 2 mu theta, where lambda is a constant for a given light. In the same experiment we will not change the light, so lambda remains a constant, and theta also is a constant for a particular given wedge shaped film, mu will be constant for the material of the wedge. And again what happens is due to all these values are constant, beta remains a constant. If beta is a constant, that is fringe width is a constant, so we'll get equi-spaced lines or equidistant lines. Okay, this is the condition. Now third and fourth condition is third condition we have discussed. Fourth condition is localized fringes. Now this is a term you might be or might not be familiar with, so I am telling what is localized in a very simple manner. So what is a localized fringe? See, localized means that a fringe that does not change when we change our field of view, does not change when we change field of view. Okay, so here we see in this experimental arrangement we have placed a microscope over the wedge shaped film. So if we have placed a microscope, we can say that all the fringes are at near to the top of the this wedge, whatever we are here, all the fringes are near the top of the wedge. Okay, so this is the reason why we can see this in the microscope. Okay, so we can say all the fringes are localized, they are not changing the position as we move the microscope farther or nearer. Okay, these are stable fringes, so we can say these fringes are localized. Okay, next, fringes of equal thickness. This we have discussed earlier, that fringes will be of equal thickness at every point. If beta is same, if the distance between two fringes is same, so their thickness also remains same. Okay, so fifth point is fringes of equal thickness. This is due to beta is a constant value for a given wedge. Okay, so this is all about wedge shaped film. Thank you everyone for watching, and if you want to study about Newton's ring, so please wait for the next video. Thank you very much. Next video we will discussing Newton's ring. Okay, thank you very much.